In my opinion, I believe the noun, Yoruba, the Yoruba people are an ethnic group of southwestern and north-central Nigeria, as well as southern and central Benin. Together, these regions are known as Yorubaland. Source: Wikipedia. Class equals glossary link. Greater than Yoruba tradition of noun, IFA. From the Yoruba tradition, IFA is a divination system used by the Babalawo and/or Iyanifa. The oracle is owned by the Yoruba god of wisdom, Orunmila. Here are some posts on IFA for further understanding. The IFA divination process. Class equals glossary link. Greater than IFA noun, ORISA. From the Yoruba tradition, often spelled as Orisha in English translation, a deity or demigod which reflects the manifestations of God in the Yoruba spiritual religious system. They rule over forces of nature and all the endeavors of humanity. Here are some posts about Orisa for further understanding. The wonderful Orishas are guardian angels, archetypes of Osun, goddess of sweet waters, love, and beauty. Class equals glossary link. Greater than Orisa sits at the top of the pyramid of every practical, theoretical, and traditional practice or study. Again, this is simply my opinion. I awakened to my spirituality in a very horrible way. I've written about this here many times before, but it was my spirituality, my awakening, that pushed me to IFA. As a matter of fact, after my awakening, I was told to go to a church that I did not grow up in, Revival, Zion. While in the Revival church, I began to use the wisdom that my sweet spiritual father, in Lakumi, class equals glossary link. Greater than Padrino had taught me years before to show the way of studying nature to the bishops and pastors of my church. Eventually, same church, or should I say the same Christian God, sent me to Africa, to IFA. Now this post is about the spirituality behind IFA and Orisha as a traditional practice. In this post, I will try my best to explain what is happening behind what you see. In Nigeria, IFA traditional practice is the study and veneration of nature as pure energy. What I mean by pure energy is this: every leaf, every stem, every flower, etc. all have a particular animistic energy that allows it to work for human beings and the earth. These energies are all of light. Asterisk note: no energy that comes up on our earth plane is ever dark. They are all light. When that energy gets ready to play a negative role in our lives, that energy now manifests itself as dark. Malevolent beings are seen as dark beings, but they are actually light beings that take on the role of dark when something needs to happen, i.e. car crash, natural disasters, even noun, Obia, a name taken from Jamaican patois to denote a spiritual practice often used for negative outcomes against others, but can also be used for positive outcomes. Other similar words practices are juju, voodoo, witchcraft, native doctors, etc. It is the manipulation of energy using physical tools and incantations for a desired effect. It is a mysterious and unstructured form of spiritual practice, as often practitioners do not have specific spirits, deities, beings that are assigned to carry out the Abia work, which leaves the work to be contracted by any spirit, wayward, malevolent or otherwise. Class equals glossary link. Greater than Abia, etc. In order for something to change, darkness is necessary because everything begins with it. Like a pregnancy, it gives way to form, i.e. change, ideas, physical manifestations, knowing, what is tangible, what has arrived, etc. But let's start with the Babalawo image source. Yagbianilu, Koma noun, Babalawo, Baba Oni Awo equals Babalawo, or father, owner, of secrets. This person is an earthly representative of Orunmila, the Orisha of wisdom and owner of the IFA divination system. The Babalawo is the keeper of secrets, knowledge, and wisdom of the IFA tradition. To gain this title, one must go through extensive training under the tutelage of a highly experienced and competent Babalawo. During this process of training, the student is called an AWO. Once he has gained experience and becomes well versed in the vast wisdom of IFA, he becomes independent and is now called a Babalawo. Related, IYAFA, class equals glossary link. Greater than Babalawo, before becoming independent and working as a Babalawo for the community, must go through extensive training. Within the training, they will learn many things. Not only how to understand the use of the oracles and the verses attached to each noun, Odu, from the Yoruba tradition. On the one hand, Odu is a deity. She was the most loved wife of Orunmila, god of wisdom and divination. On the other hand, Odu is a live energy. It refers to the coded language that appears when IFA is cast. There are 256 otis with 16 major otis, recognizable by the word meji in their names. There are 240 permutations of Odu. For easier understanding, otis are one's book of destiny or Akashic record. An Odu is marked by a trained babalawo in a series of markings, strokes marked from right to left. The markings form the insignia of the Odu. Upon completion there will be 4 series of strokes on the right from top to bottom and same on the left. Each pattern has a name, or Odu. For example, Obara Meji is an Odu which sits in 7th place, as Odu place are unalterable. Here are some helpful posts for further understanding of Odu, the story of Alor and Ika, class equals glossary link greater than Odu, but also how to use nature for medicines, spiritually, or for work to aid humankind. Now, the master of the noun, awo, awo is a Yoruba word for mystery. It relates to the traditions of IFA or any fraternity. It indicates the mysteries of the fraternity or the IFA tradition. A student of the IFA tradition of Yorubaland is called Omo Awo, child of the mysteries, class equals glossary link greater than Awo. In training also had a master, and so did the master before him and before him etc. So in IFA, everything is handed down orally. What is not realized by some is that those old masters are the ones who now sit beside the AWOs in their noun, a spirit or being without physical form, class equals glossary link greater than non-physical form and continues to teach in spirit. A newly trained AWO can cast IFA, but it also depends on how open his spirit is to receive the information from generations of non-physical, well-trained masters. These non-physical masters will not only teach him while he works or studies, but also while he sleeps. So some babalawos will know extensive knowledge about Otis without ever having been taught by their physical master. It would be a knowing that they develop, and this knowing is what is given to them by non-physical teachers. Everything in life is spiritual, whether you know it or not. Nothing is ever mechanical. IFA, traditional medicines, a leaf burnt to make a medicine instantly becomes a spirit. How? Because there was a spirit attached to this leaf before it was used for this preparation. This is why every tree and every leaf has a name, just like every human being has a name. So, if I wanted John to go to the shop for me, I would call him by his name and send him on errand. Just like calling John, the AWO has to use incantation to wake up the medicine in order for it to now become alive and go out to work for the human it will be given to. By alive, I mean that the medicine has now become a messenger. If you have used the herb. Now, when I send John to the shop, John needs a mode of transportation. When the AWO makes the medicine, it will now use the breeze to carry it through. If the medicine was for prosperity, it will use the breeze to search for avenues to bring prosperity. Because the breeze is an element of nature and a force within itself, it will now become activated by this medicine, and the two work together for the benefit of the human. How is this knowledge given so that it can be passed along through generations? All of this knowledge is not only passed down through training, but also through non-physicals, a spirit still alive and conscious. The more a non-physical assists the human in evolution and growth is the more that non-physical elevates into light continuum. The spirituality behind tradition is the activation of non-physical beings who must also be propitiated always. Therefore, the reverence and sacrifice to the ancestors in your noun, ori is a Yoruba concept of one's inner consciousness. Ori literally translates to head in Yoruba. It is also considered to be a divinity, the one that leads and guides you throughout your life. It is possible to come to Earth with either a very strong Ori, head, or a very weak Ori, class equals, glossary link greater than Ori are important. It is the non-physicals or those from the ancestral world that will lead someone from Iceland or Greenland all the way to tradition without them ever having heard of it before. They, the spirits, are like salt, which without it, the food can never be good. They act as an activation for everything spiritual that needs to be done or learned. What happens when you are initiated? Image taken by Obara Meji spoke to someone yesterday who was a part of a particular spiritual house in America. She practices a system similar to that of the Yorubas, although she is not initiated. During our conversation, she informed me that she had done a ceremony to receive aliks, ilke in Yoruba. After the noun, the practice of seeking knowledge and clarity of the past, present, or future through spiritual means. Reading types can widely vary but are often sacred objects, elements of nature, or persons. Related, divination, class equals, glossary link greater than reading. I asked her, who will initiate you, and after she told me, I wished her the best, but being who I am, I could not end the conversation without sharing some information. If a person needs to be initiated to IFA, a trained and competent Babalawo who is the representative of noun, O-Run Mih law, Orunmila is the god of wisdom and witness of fate and the divinity of destiny and prophecy. He is praise named Ibike Alodomare, second in command to Alodomare, and Alari Ipin, witness of fate. It was also Orunmila who carried Ifa, the wisdom of Alodomare, to earth. Source, Wikipedia, class equals, glossary link greater than Orunmila on earth and has the exclamation, ah, she, from the Yoruba language, ace, spelled with the Yoruba letter, s, shish, is uttered after prayers and incantations. It translates to, so let it be, may it be so. The force and power and motivation behind any spiritual manifestation. ASE also refers to one's spiritual command or power which assures the manifestation of utterances. Class equals glossary link greater than ASE to pass over will be the one to do this type of noun, and n, the action of admitting someone into a secret or obscure society or group, typically with a ritual, spiritual process of being born again. Class equals glossary link greater than initiation. If you initiate to an Orisa, the Babalawo will call the custodians of that particular Orisa to assist him. The custodians hold the ASE, power, rights, rituals to that Orisa, therefore it is they who can pass it over correctly. However, it is compulsory for a Babalawo to be present during an Orisa initiation due to the necessary odu and sacrifices that will be needed. Neither a Babalawo nor a noun, IFA-ORISA, Yoruba term for one who has been initiated and trained in the rites and rituals of one or more Orishas in the Yoruba tradition, class equals, glossary link greater than Olorisa can do an Orisa initiation by himself. Every person involved comes with their own ASE to impart. Getting initiated to IFA is a very big protection for many things, which I will explain soon. Getting initiated to an Orisha, on the other hand, is like having your personal guardian angel support your destiny. However, as I said before, IFA is a guide. So imagine someone directing you, make a right here, don't go there, go straight, avoid there, etc. This is the role of IFA. The interesting part is that everything IFA is guiding you away from or guiding you towards are all things written by you, your spirit. You are literally the author of your own destiny. Initiation to IFA is an amazing rites of passage to your spiritual journey, evolution and elevation. However, there are some that initiation is a must for. There can be many reasons for this: a chosen destiny, to save a life, or lives, healing, to collect a great blessing, to stop an ill fate, to rewrite a destiny for the better, for protection, etc. Before initiation, a person may feel their life is unaligned. They may experience many things, abia, confusion, difficulties, they may feel lost, or drawn to a particular or many roads of spirituality. At times life may just become too hectic. If we were to take an X-ray of that person's life, the X-ray may look something like this. After initiation, and adhering to taboos and keeping up with sacrifices, the person will now become aligned with their destiny. Therefore, what has been tangled before now gradually begins to untangle, until finally those chaotic lines straighten out. This is when the initiate has become aligned totally with their destiny, and the X-ray now looks like this. This does take time, but what it does is ground and balances a person spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and then some. For some, the process can be gradual, but then no baby is born and walks out of the hospital. This is why IFA initiation is recommended to be done first, because IFA is the guide. It is through IFA that one will now know not only the ORISA that rules his or her head, but also the ORISAs that he or she will need to support him or her through their life. You do not have to be Yoruba to embrace this tradition. IFA's children spreads far and wide across the world. It does not matter if you are Christian, Muslim, or something else. If IFA is in your blood, IFA will find you. Getting IFA is like being handed a book of your own destiny. The title of the book is your ODU, and inside of this book are all the things you have written for your life before coming to earth, both the good and the bad. As the Babalawos read your book and interpret, they see many things: wealth and plenty of children, or famine and poverty. However, because we create our realities, initiation helps you rewrite your destiny. So if famine, poverty, untimely death or illness was in the future, with IFA's guidance, i.e. a sacrifice, medicine, taboo, etc., that unfortunate future can be changed. Observe the image above, which was taken during a noun, O Bata Allah, Yoruba divinity, Orisa, demigod, deity, of peace. He is the Sky Father, Father of all Orishas, and creator of human bodies. He is also called Orisanla, and is almost godlike in his functions. He is also referred to as the White Orisa or Orisa of the white cloth, indicating his purity and ultimate wisdom. He claims all human beings as his children and rejects no one. Class equals glossary link greater than Obatala initiation. Everything used during initiations has its specific meaning and symbolism. From the cloth they wear, to the way the cloth is tied, to the markings, a coded language, written upon the head and body, to the movements or sounds made, and propitiations. All of this is done ritualistically in the calling down of the energy, Orisha. What energy has to do with initiation's image by Obara Meji during Masquerade Festival? The entire initiation process is a process of transference, shifting and manipulation of energy. I use the image above to show you the hundreds, or thousands, of dots floating around. Those are energies, or spirits. So the force, Orisa, that is called upon you now becomes a part of you. In a metaphorical way, it sits atop your head and you and it have become one. As time goes on, you will begin to take on characteristics of that Orisa. This will take time as the Orisa develops over time within the person. So the older you get, is the more that energy binds itself with you. We ascribe gender to Orishas only for better understanding of the human due to limitations of the mind. However, Orishas or term a pure energy is that of nature in its natural elements. The force emitted from nature and its elements are referred to as pure. These energies have not been created by man and cannot be changed or destroyed by man. Therefore, these energies are pure in the force they emit. Each element has with it a particular set of non-physical deities ascribed to it. Pure energies work for the earth in cleansing, but cleansing can also become destructive for human beings, though the necessary result or goal of the cleanse remains the same whether it is destructive or productive. Class equals glossary link greater than pure energies and therefore genderless. Shango, for example, is seen and described as masculine because of the harshness of lightning and thunder and the rage within fire. In human form, these are masculine traits. Noun, O-shun, Osun, is an Orisa, a feminine energy, a deity, or a goddess that reflects one of the manifestations of God in the Ifa and Yoruba practice. She is one of the most popular and venerated Orishas. Osun is the deity of the river and fresh waters, fertility, and beauty and love. Class equals glossary link greater than Osun is seen as feminine because the river is seen as soft, sweet, clean and flowing. When these energies are now placed alongside or within any type of ancestral spirits or statues or ascribed a new personality, that pure energy is no longer pure. If you put a masculine pure energy and change it to a feminine energy, and that feminine energy is not pure but is instead ancestral, then that once masculine energy has lost its purity. So what happens when that new energy is given to someone during initiation? It is like a hybrid, and just as that energy has been crossed or tainted, so will now the human become. This, fortunately, is not the case in Africa. The Yorubas have mastered the art of manipulating energy correctly. Initiation includes certain sacrificial rites, the feeding, propitiation and invocation of energies and inviting them into the space through acts and symbolic language. It is further advanced through sounds such as drumming, singing and dancing. The words, melody, and tune all work to create a passageway for that particular energy or source to come down. In other words, we are calling spirits, live energies, and calling them into this space. It is to create frequency which will act as a signal to the particular orisa you are seeking to come. So this is a part of what I mean by passing along a